Dashboard building in Sage Intacct can be really nice, and a lot of things that you can do with it. But the same type of reporting can be replicated in Velixo as well. So here is a dashboard with several performance cards on it, and then a chart down below. Much of the same content can be replicated with Velixo. And so this is essentially replicating the performance cards by showing you positive variances in green and negative variances in red. You have the ability based on list box to select a reporting period, which I've got formulas that will then update the start and end dates, as well as being able to pick your stores that are located within this particular Intacct instance. So if I change this from store 6 to store 5 for this very same period, 11 of 2023, notice my data updates in terms of tracking spending guests per check and sales and profit metrics here. And then down below, tracking your cost of goods sold activity in terms of as a percent of sales. So your cost of goods sold, your core Pizza Hut labor, this being a Pizza Hut instance, and then the indirect labor component added as well under the other labor. So again, I can change reporting periods. My numbers will update as well as I can change stores and the activity updates as well. So if I change this back to store 3, here's my data here, re-updating. So this dashboard is replicating, or this report's replicating the dashboard that has the monthly activity here on the left side of the report, and then the year-to-date activity on the right side of the report. So current period versus same period prior year, prior month, and then a year-to-date versus prior year-to-date activity. So this is just one example. I have created several other examples that are dashboard related. So for example, we can look at a format here where we are pulling total promotional activity spend and then calculating that by the promotional categories against the total sales to get a percent of sales, and looking at the change current period versus prior period and year-to-date activity in terms of monitoring where these trends are positive or negative. And then I've got a breakdown by store. So the total promotional activity by store, and then doing a conditional formatting in terms of lowest amounts in green and highest amounts in terms of promotional spend in red on a current period and year-to-date basis. And again, this just gets updated as we select different periods here, and the numbers will update accordingly. A report that's in the same type of format by store to look at cash over and short, as again, conditional formatting. So the positive numbers in green, the negative numbers in red, and everything trending in between in terms of transitioning from green to red with yellow colors in between. Cost of goods sold details. So looking at the total cost of goods sold per period and then the percent of sales. This is a great way to look at the numbers in totality, but most people are going to want to pay attention to what's going on with trends by store. So as you see here, this is trending out the activity in terms of highest to lowest as a percent of sales in here, and the breakout by store. So really helps you understand which stores are overperforming and which stores are underperforming by looking at the color metrics in here as a percent of sales based on the as a percent of sales based on the cost of goods sold incurred up here by category. Here is a cost of goods sold by labor period. looking at total cost of goods sold, Pizza Hut labor, and other labor against the gross profit. So, so several things that can be done, and then this is by year to date. You can look at overtime activity as well, in addition to occupancy and utility spends. So here is rent expense and utility expenses. You could do those as a percent of sales, but more than anything is just being able to track the overall trend. Another thing that's important in the restaurant space is third-party spends and third-party delivery activity. So here is an example of pulling data. Again, you can select your different reporting periods and have this update in terms of your total gross sales and what does that look in terms of your spend by DoorDash, Uber Eats, and in this case, this particular environment also is using Easy Caterer. So, and then a third party year to date look at things versus just existing period. And then in summary, you've also, I've set up an example where if you want to look at cash balances in terms of activity based on these account groups, cash on hand, operating checking accounts, suspense accounts, AR activity, how does that move as you move from period to period? So if we move this to period 12, 2023, this activity updates accordingly. And then here is the cash flow activity in terms of just a summary of what the cash flow statement would look like in terms of the operating, investing, and financing cash flows. Looks like I do have a formula fix I need to make to pick up the total activity here correctly. But you get the idea here in terms of the type of reporting that can be done even for cash balance and cash flow activity. If you want to look at daily sales activity, here is a quick summary to look at it by day and to kind of look at the global numbers up here. How does it look in a current 7-day window versus a prior 7-day window? You can adjust your as of date up here and it recalibrates the 7-day comparison. And then weekly totals here to be able to look at the activity by guest checks by category, as well as gross product sales, promotional activity to get a net sales number, and the average guest check per day here. So as you see, there is a lot of opportunity to replicate dashboard reporting in Velixo that can be done with Sage Intacct. So it's just a matter of utilizing all the different report formats and options and pulling all the restaurant-centric data in terms of labor, sales, cash flow, cash balances, and other key metrics that we reviewed here.